This here is the Panasonic G85. This is probably one of the best starter cameras that you can get if you want to get started in either photo or video. When you're starting out, as you build out your skill sets, the first first assist essentially that you need, a technological assist, is image stabilization.
Look how stable this is, right? Like I can zoom in all the way, and like my hand's not steady, but it's got sensor stabilization on the inside, right? The sensor is floating, and because of the electronic contacts, it knows what the focal length is, and it's able to stabilize for that. And I can just pan and follow, and yeah, it's super smooth.
And Panasonic is known for having a very good floating sensor in here, which helps and aids in sensor stabilization. That's item number one, in helping you get both good images and videos. And the second thing that's really good with this is the fact that it has decently reliable autofocus, even when using an adapter, specifically in the case of photos. With videos, so you've got one-touch autofocus when you press that button with any kind of camera attached, or rather any lens attached to the camera.
Oh, this is the adapter I was talking about, right? It's got electronic contacts. It matches here, and it transfers any and all information that this lens is trying to communicate to this camera.
Sense you don't need an adapter for this lens, right?
So this is the adapter for this mount. So this is a Canon EF mount. Any Canon mount lens, this adapter will allow you to then transfer into this. Now, this is about the same size as your M50, right?
A little bit bigger.
A little bit, okay. But you'll notice the sensor is smaller, right? So what that means is, what this is 11 to 16. If you compare it to what's called full frame, you just double these numbers. So it's really like a 22 to 32. Because of the smaller sensor, that's the field of view that you're getting. But to me, like, that's really negligible. Cool thing is this has got autofocus, but it's not continuous. So whenever you do want to focus, you just press the button, boom. Because of the autofocus, I can do touch. It's a wide angle, so there's not much to focus on, right? So wherever the target is at, it's gonna focus there, right? So it's focused on Jesse right now, right? I go over there, it's focused on them. But the thing is, the focus is not gonna follow, right? And so if I were to switch that over to photo mode, and so I go ahead and press that.
I really like and appreciate the JPEGs coming out of here, where I don't feel like I need to do edit in the RAW, but if you want to use RAW, you definitely can get RAW.
The challenge with action, because things are moving, I'm gonna need to increase that shutter speed a little bit, right? So maybe bring it to a 1/125. But now it's super dark. So now I'm just gonna bump up the ISO. So here, bring it up to say 3200, boom. All right, now I got the appropriate exposure. Right, now with this camera, I only look at two things. M for video and M for photo. Right, this is because this gives me full manual control over everything. If I go shutter priority, so here if I play and I take this picture, now it's super dark, right? Now I know I gotta bump up that ISO, right?
So you're the buttons. I haven't used Panasonic before.
Okay, so it's all labeled. That's the thing I like about Panasonic. ISO is ISO, white balance is white balance, right? When it comes to the shutter and shutter and aperture, it's just the dial. So if we look at Jesse, we frame him, focus him up, boom. Now I know this is the right exposure.
If you're starting out and you want to build out a good kit, this is the kit that I built out for myself. This was the first mirrorless camera that I bought after my EOS M, and I kept it for a while, and I still have it. In fact, this is actually going to be sent as a loaner to a buddy of mine who's getting started, and I feel like this is a good starting camera.
This is a kit that covers everything. Now the point of having a kit that covers everything is for you to get a feel for what do you like, right? Because I know I'm not a zoom guy, right? Just straight up, I don't shoot with like zoom lenses for the most part, right? I'm a this guy, but I didn't know that until I went through all of it, right? So I realized, all right, I want a standard focal length, and I need a wide angle, which I've got on my chest right now. That basically covers my 90%. Now, the only instance in which I do use a zoom is for like events and like seminar recordings and things like that. But I have a different set for that that's more appropriate for that setup.
If you're starting out, you want to get these 4 lenses. It doesn't have to be these specific lenses, but it's this range, and they are more or less affordable. So the first one is the Tokina 11-16. This lens here, you can get the 11-16. If you can get yourself the 11-20, gives you a little bit more range.
Wow. I've got a 39-year-old with a cesarean scar at top of pregnancy. C-section scar? Yes, fetus cannibal.
Lens number 2, Canon 17-55. Oh. Hey.
It is appropriate to assume 75% to 80% of all of your work is going to be on this lens, right? This is your standard zoom lens. This is a 17-55, generally a wide, and I can zoom in, right, to here. Boom.
I'm here, just go with 2 hands in, boom, try to go up, hip escape. He's keeping a good distance right now, so it's hard for me to go for the triangle. I'm just gonna start to push right here, throw the leg using your hand. And I move my toes to the floor right here to help me like hip escaping. Pinch my both foot together, start to stretch and come up right here. And I'm gonna start to reach for the elbow, making a good grip on the elbow. I make a good grip on the elbow, step, shift my body to the side. I'm hip escaping out. I'm trying to create some space to make him fall. Back a little. If you need to, like sometimes my opponent have a good balance, I use this hand. Instead of only hugging, I pulse my hand right here. So I'm making like a small cup on the inside of the knee. So now when I walk, it's really hard for him to follow me because I'm blocking his far leg. And then I just bend the leg right here, bring him to my knee, and I just lean towards the head. Okay? Any questions, guys? Good? Okay, let's go. 1, 2, 3.
Third lens here is the 70-210. This lens is going to allow you to get the appropriate reach that you want to have in order to capture things in the distance.
Now the only downside is I'm using a lens that's not very bright. It's an f4. We're indoors, so I'm running that ISO up to 1600. It's not, I mean, the thing is, this camera is pretty clean, right? So like in the dark areas, so if I go like this, right, like this is where you'll be able to see if there's any major noise. I mean, because on a small screen you can't see it, but like you pull it into the computer or you put it up on a 50-inch screen TV, you'll see it, but it's not distracting. No, I wouldn't stop. I have a submission there, just scrap me. Sorry, Professor. Oh, that. No.
And the last and final lens to finish out your kit is a handy dandy, fantastic plastic nifty 50.
This is called a fantastic plastic. Literally, feel it. It's made of plastic, right? People buy like these in 2 or 3s, knowing that they're gonna, mess it up.
Now these are all Canon EF lenses, and the way that I'm using it is I'm using a Viltrox straight through adapter. The good thing about the straight through adapter as opposed to using a focal reducer or a speed booster is that it's going to give you the best image quality. Anytime you add a piece of glass or a glass element in front of the sensor, you are going to affect the image quality, and that matters when it comes to taking photos. Not so much with video, but definitely with photos, especially with a lens like the 17 to 55. If you add a speed booster to something like this, you're going to see a lot of color fringing, which is something that I personally want to avoid as much as possible. I would rather have a soft image than an image that's sharp with color fringing.
How much is it? How much was this camera? Or what is this camera now?
I bought it in 2019 with a kit lens, and I got it for about $450. I sold the kit lens for $200.
Oh wow!
Right?
In terms of a quick overview of the cost of what these lenses cost and what this whole kit might cost, you could probably get yourself a Lumix G85 for about $400. So that's one. The second is the 11 to 16. You could probably find this for between $200 to $250. This you could also probably find between $200 to $250, maybe $300. The 70 to 210, you could probably find this for less than $100. I bought mine for less than $100. And this, the Nifty 50 Fantastic Plastic, is probably anywhere between $80 to $150. So the total kit altogether, so we'll do 400. So camera 400, 600 total. Then add another 200, 700, 800, maybe $900. $1,000 and maybe $1,100, $1,200. Now add some money for SD cards. You're probably looking at $1,200 for a complete set, and this is going to cover 99% of everything that you need to basically get coverage for all the stuff that you want to capture, especially in the case of photo.
I don't know if it's the case with this one. Some cameras, when you put a third-party adapter on there, because the adapter's on there, even if the camera is off, it might trickle discharge the battery.
Okay.
Right?
It's actually out.
This thing also does long form recordings unlimited. One of the key things to keep in mind though, if you're gonna get batteries, so I bought a bunch of secondary batteries here. These secondary batteries, they work. The only thing is that when the charge runs low, you really don't know until it's kind of done. And so I got a few of these. They work, they don't last very long, and so it's a good idea to also get a power supply, especially if you're gonna do long form recording. Get yourself a dummy battery, something like this. This way you can plug it in via USB into a power source and you'll be good to go.
This is your starter set to get you to understand what is it that you like. I was just reminded that this camera is just wonderful. So even in terms of photos, most of these photos aren't very good because I'm just aiming, but like this was all right. I kind of like this one in the middle of the action. This lockup is pretty good. This one's a pretty good one, I think. I'll try to capture a few of these. Well, the challenge is the action is always moving, right? So I just have to keep, like, the shutter speed is 1/500.
Yeah, you'll notice whenever you're framing up, right, you're gonna have to take 2 or 3 shots before you finally take a good shot. Like the group photo that I did in the end, like right, first one, like yes, underexposed. Okay, I changed the shutter speed, I slowed it down, 1/125, and then I was like, all right, I'm not framed right, so let me do it again. Boom, I got the third one. Yeah.